Hello, hi, and welcome to EmpathicFire. I am your reader, Jay. This is going to be a general message for the sign of Virgo in September 2021. What's going on, Virgo? How are you guys doing? I hope you guys are doing well. All right, friends. Happy birthday. It is your season. We're full on into Virgo season whenever your birthday is or was. I hope you guys have or had an amazing time. If you're able to celebrate and splurge on yourself, get some me time in, get some quality time in, spend it with your friends and family, whatever you want to do. I hope that you are able to. I hope that you did it. I hope that you will do it. Treat your birthday like it's your own personal national holiday, friends. That's what I do, or at least I try to, and I think everybody should do that. So I'm wishing you well. I'm hoping you get something really nice coming to you during your birthday season. Yeah. That's that. Some announcements since it was, your birthday season. Your birthday message is already out there on your playlist. So if you missed that, go ahead and check that out. I did that, I want to say like 4 or 5 days ago, something like that. And I will go live for you guys here on the channel on September the 11th, which is this Saturday at 7 p.m. So if you want to hang out with me, get some questions answered by me live here on the channel to celebrate your season, feel free to join me, okay? And yeah, if you want a personal, you can find out how to do so by looking in the description box below, okay? Virgo, let's get into your reading. To start out, you have the Sun, Devil, Six of Cups. Sun, Leo, Devil, Capricorn. Could be dealing, don't have to be. Oh, God, it just left my mind as soon as I was about to say it. Shit. There was a particular phrase that was coming to me that, like, when these three came out, and I don't intend to lay anything face up. They just, if they come face down, I put them in there. If it comes face up, I put it there. But there was something, like the effect is basically best of times, worst of times, right? This is the best of times, this is the worst of times. Not this time, but like, I think this is a situation. I think this is a connection. I think this is a relationship. I think that many of you have a soul connection with a person of any type, whatever label you want to put on it, that is incredibly significant, and it's going to bring you to, lead you through some of the best times of your life, some of the worst times of your life. Or it's going to highlight those elements or those places in your life, the good places, the bad places, the very auspicious, positive aspects of your life, your personality, your traits, your behaviors, their behaviors, etc., etc. Like, all of this will be seen in the light of day is what this is coming to. So, God, I got to slow this down a little bit because, you know, the soul connection, I think, is very true. The type of soul connection is not debatable. It's just, it's different for all of you, right? So for some of you, this is a soul connection with someone that you are in a love relationship with. Great. Others of you, it's someone who is just a friend to you and will always just be friends to you. Neither one of you feel romantically towards the other, right? Others of you, it's a family relationship that has been troubled. Others of you, it's a family relationship that's been smooth sailing, but does have little pockets or does have moments of trouble, moments of complexity, yeah? The point is, the relationship is for your higher growth. Whether you believe that, the other person believes that, whether that resonates with you now or ever did or ever will, I don't know. But there's something about the growth of the situation, spiritually speaking, soulfully speaking, that's the nature of the beast, or that's the center of it. That's like the nucleus of this thing, you know, like the sun, the center of the solar system, right? Right? The center of our universe, yes? So, and when we think about that. The sun is at the center, right? And the sun is great. From where we are here on Earth, it's great. You know? It gives us life, gives us light, gives us heat, you know, gives us a lot of things. But the sun is also incredibly destructive, right? I don't work for NASA, so I can't like get into like the details of it or like the real technical way of understanding that truth. But the sun is very dangerous. Even from where we are on Earth, you know, you can't stare at the sun for too long before it burns your fucking retinas out, right? But it's still the same thing that provides us with, like I said, life, light, heat, right? Without the sun, we wouldn't have any plants. Without the sun, we wouldn't have crops. Without the sun, we wouldn't have warm seasons, yes? So the same thing that can support us and give us good things in life can make us go blind if we stare at it for too long, or damage our sight, right? Do you understand? So there's complexity in that existence. There's two truths there. The thing that can sustain us can also harm us. And that kind of brings me back to this Six of Cups energy, this soul relationship that you have with a person or will have. If you don't have it now, this person will arrive in your life, or you will come to this realization about them. We presume that a soulmate, given where we've come from, the age of Pisces, into the age of Aquarius, is where we are now. We've been here for a while yet, okay? But where we came from, there's this presumption that a soulmate, period, no matter the type, because, whatever, but a soulmate, especially one that we like or we enjoy or that we love or that we feel so drawn to, is supposed to be this lovey, cookie cutter, joyful experience, always. The sun, joyful experience, always. But what did we just talk about in terms of how the sun literally shows up in our lives? Yes, it's nice to go and tan yourself and lay out at the beach, or it's nice to feel the sun on your skin after walking out of like a chilly theater. Like, oh yeah, it's nice that the sun is helping to support the crops so that we can feed ourselves throughout the year, right? That's great. We love that. But when the sun gives you skin cancer, sunburn, when the sun like hurts your eyes, when the sun like for God's sakes, like if you're driving, that certain time of day in traffic and the sun is so blinding you can't see other cars on the road, you're kind of pissed off at the sun at that time. So you understand what I mean? So this relationship, which is doubled down with the devil being here, is a vexing one. You love this person, you care about them, they care about you too. It's a nurturing relationship. It possibly goes back to childhood for some of you, right? You may have known this person since you were little. You could be siblings, whatever it is. But man, there are times where what goes on between you feels quite hurtful. It feels kind of dangerous in some of your cases. It feels detrimental in some cases. And that possibly, that quality to your relationship is for a bigger purpose, Virgo. Not for all of you, but a good majority of you. That's kind of what's going on here. And, I'm not here to tell you to like that or dislike that or anything. It's just, I think making heads or tails out of it is kind of the shitty part, because again, there's this perception of, well, if they're significant, then they should be mostly a positive experience. And what I'm sensing is, for some of you, a degrading. Oh, that's 2 times. That means I'm using this word twice. That happens a lot in my readings. I'll use a word or a phrase and it has like double meaning. Anyway, so the first way, it's degrading. It's degrading over time is how I mean that. So what started out as a really nice relationship with your friend, when you first got together with this person romantically, in some other cases, it was just like you never met anyone like this. Like they really lit your world all the way up, right? They or you came into each other's lives and you were like this shining beacon of hope, right? And at that time, or in the early stages, you were like, man, this is my person. This is my person. Or this is the person who gets me the most on this earth. I was destined to meet them. We were destined to cross each other's paths. That's still true. But when I said degrading, it's over time. You're like, can't get away from this person. You and them are like in a toxic bond, or you're in some type of codependent shit, For some of you, again, back to childhood. You both don't have to be children. It could go back to your childhood. This could be your mom or your dad. Dad, devil energy, father archetypes. So for some of you, this is a relationship with your father or some type of masculine, male appearing person. What does that mean, male appearing person? I don't know why they want me to phrase it that way, but they're like a male appearing person. Okay, whatever that means. So now it's like you're tethered to this person and you don't want to be, or you're tethered to this person and you feel that you have no escape, you have no other choice. This is your person for some of you, marriage. You know, from now, what are those vows? How's it end? Until death do you part. That shit. Some of you, you know, you really think that's the truth, and look, I'm not here to pressure you or press you on the vows you took, but you know, that's kind of resonating with you. That's kind of like reverberating in your mind. Till death do us part, till death do us part. I really said those words. I gotta fulfill my duty. I gotta do that. You do what you want. Now, the other part of degrading, again, this is like the first part was it was great in the beginning. Now we've been here for a while and it feels like hell on earth, right? The other part of the degrading is that you feel chiseled. What does that mean? Chiseled? Oh. You feel chiseled away. You feel chipped away at. Like either this person has been verbally not so nice to you, physically not so nice to you, you know, degrading you in those ways, abusing you in those ways, taking advantage of you in those ways, manipulating you in those ways. Great. I'm not saying great. Like, I'm saying great to my guides. Like, thank you for letting me make that point. That's not great that you experienced that. But the degrading thing, there's something in there for you, Virgo. God, what is this about? This is like a theme in a few of the readings that I've done, where we have to understand from a soul level, the collective, not just Virgos, not just, you know, Capricorns or Pisces or Aries or any other sign, singularly, the collective group of humans on this earth at this time, right? Have to, I'm going to quote it really heavily, come to this understanding that the suffering that I don't think anybody should be happy about, I'm not saying be happy about it, I'm not saying do a bunch of cartwheels, but like the suffering that we have as individuals experienced are being experienced collectively. It adds to the pot, the collective pot, right? And out of that suffering comes growth. Out of that suffering comes evolution on a soulful level. Growing pains, period, right? And most people don't like the idea of that. I personally don't either. Why do I have to go through some bad shit in order to grow? Well, that seems to be the pattern that life is following on Earth. You know, there's a lot of theories. One of the most painful things you can experience in life is birth. As the person giving it and as the person being born. You're in this nice little comfy cocoon place. It's nice and warm in there. You got your you know, got your nutrients are given to you, you know, and then all of a sudden you're in this very cold environment. Suddenly your lungs are full of air and they're not used to that. You're wailing. You come into this world crying. You come into and then what happens with birth? A lot of blood, a lot of fluids, a lot of, in some cases, cutting open. You know, lots of violence, quote unquote violence, or traumatic things are happening in the process of birth. But do we think, oh, because the birthing process is so traumatic and off-putting that we shouldn't have babies anymore? Most, like, the idea is ludicrous. Nobody would even, well, some people might, but most people are like, no, like it's gonna happen. And that's part of coming into this world, is going through that process. But theoretically, or spiritually speaking, philosophically speaking, in some ways, it's kind of a very painful way to come in. Screaming, crying, and then, you know, maybe you go into some type of medical distress as the mother or as the infant, whatever. What's my point in this? Let me get back on track. Ah, yes. So, and then that continues, you know, as life goes on, you know, you lose a couple teeth. It's not the most painful experience, but it can be kind of distressing. Like all of a sudden I have an open cavity in my mouth, And like there's a little trickle of blood and my little baby tooth is like in my hand. I don't like this, but that's part of growing up. You know? I got my heart broken in high school. That's part of growing up. It's painful, but you grow from that. Now that you've had your heart broken a couple times, the next time you go into another relationship, suddenly you're more prepared. Suddenly you're more mature, or less mature if you don't learn lessons. And that's for my guides. We finally got there. This is a lesson. And I'm not saying a lesson to punish you. I'm not saying a lesson that's meant to smack you upside your head. This is a soulful lesson with a soulmate, period. That's what they're here for. That's what we're collectively doing. So now that we've all suffered collectively, going back to that, my suffering, your suffering, everybody else is suffering. And I hate using this word, but I'm going to go with it. We all put into this pot, this collective pot, right? And then the lesson can be learned. It's sort of, if you're on a spiritual path with a soulmate of any type, you understand that basically your experience, if you never speak it to another human being verbally, is still going to factor into the teachings for others. I hope you get that. I hope that makes sense. Because even if you never talk about the nuances of this, the specifics of this, the turmoil of this, the greatest joys of this, whatever this is, whomever this is that you share this connection with, Virgo, if you never speak it aloud, just you experiencing it on a soulful level, on a metaphysical level, is going to act as a lesson for others to come after you. Right? So, the greatest of times, the worst of times. And, there we go. For some, it's not even one person. It's the soul family you belong to. So, this could exist, this soul connection, this soul tether you have can be to multiple people. That's very interesting. So, the long and the short of it, and this was long because I didn't mean to talk that long, but the long and the short of this is basically, for some of you, some of the soulmates that you have in this life, and I'm a person who believes that we have multiple soulmates, not just one. So some of you will have the greatest soulmates ever. They're going to light your life up. They're going to be a beacon of joy and contentment and serenity and all that stuff in your life. Other soulmates are going to try you. They're going to vex you. They're possibly going to abuse you. Both types of connections are significant for your personal growth and the growth of the collective. Some of you are on soul missions and you don't know it, or you don't necessarily agree with it or appreciate it at this time, and maybe never will. But if you're watching a tarot reading, I assume you're kind of at least interested. Nothing to clarify because it's very abstract. This is speaking to a wide range of people. So let's just get more on this. And I really don't want these readings to be long, but here we are, Virgo. You got a long one. So give me more messages here for Virgo, the continuation of this story, or build upon this story, excuse me. What else is happening for Virgo in September? And this doesn't have to happen in September. This reading definitely is not during just this birthday season. Like, this is your life. Isn't that an old show? This Is Your Life? Oh, man. Interesting. And they're flipping out like little burgers or something. Alright. Side position. How do we feel about that? I feel like this, but let's make sure. Yep. Okay. Thank you. It's poignant. Alright, so 8 of Cups, yes, 10 of Wands, and the Fool. Alright, so now, this is the challenge, again, this Age of Pisces, layover, residual stuff, and the Age of Pisces, the way that we perceive and experience, but mostly perceive at this point. How we experience will eventually become the norm, but we have to initially change the perception, I suppose, or elevate the perception, perhaps. Anyway, 8 of Cups, 10 of Wands, Fool. Aquarian energy with the Fool. Could be dealing, don't have to be. So, not happy. 8 of Cups, right? You've come to this point where you realize certain connections or a particular one of significance is just The well has run dry there. You cannot sustain yourself there emotionally. You cannot sustain yourself there spiritually. You can't sustain yourself there physically. It's the end of the line there, in some form or fashion. However that translates and manifests in your actual reality will be different. And the Ten of Wands I'm feeling is a job well done, actually. Virgo, you've done your due diligence. You've put your best foot forward here. No shame is like what I'm getting here, because, the devil can be a shameful energy or a guilting energy. So if you or other people are shoveling shame, trying to guilt a person, make a person feel lower, that's a bad move, okay? Whether you're doing that to yourself or other people are doing that to you, that's not the move. The move should be, you did the best you could, you did the best that you knew how, and that's, all we can say about it, To continue on to it would be to continue the suffering, because that's what the devil energy wants. That's what the devil in biblical terms wants, is for us to be co-signers on our own torture, on our, if I'm not a religious person, but I find it very interesting. Like, basically the devil's like, hey, he's, that guy up there, he said sins were like a thing, but, you could do it. You should just do it. Who cares what he says? You should just do it. It's like a trickster thing. It's ridiculous in some ways. Anyway, so there's this lie, or this tempting language, or this tempting communication, this tempting tether that exists in this energy, in this relationship somewhere, that's basically saying, if you should be down with this suffering. And that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. Perhaps it comes out to you, Virgo. Perhaps it is delivered to you as, well, you can't do any better. What kind of shit is that? Trickster language, yes? Trying to seduce you into self-loathing, seduce you into self-betrayal, seduce you into following or giving into impulses, giving into all kinds of things, right? Whatever. If you are in the process of unburdening yourself from this, good job. Good job. Continue to do that work. Fool comes in. This is very interesting, a very strong energy of like a renewal through this, renewal through. So, renewal through. Okay. For some of you, you will have issue with this soul connection, or at least one of them that you have, because you want this person and you to be bosom buddies. You want to walk this path with this person, and you simply cannot. It's not meant for you to walk alongside each other the entire time. And it's almost like a sacrifice. Like, that's not the best, but this is what immediately popped into my head. Spoiler alert, BT dubs for the Marvel Cinematic Universe here. For those who are aware of the Avengers Endgame, right? And what happens there 2 times in the movie. Well, no, the first one was in Infinity War, and no, they're both in Endgame. Whatever. People get sacrificed for the greater good, right? People get off of cliffs and everything like that, right? I'm not saying that's literally happening, but that's the vibe, is someone, you have to let go of a certain life or a certain segment of your life, a certain part of your path, in order to have a greater good outcome. You don't, now, it's not like, we're in danger of Thanos snapping us all out of existence, right? So it's not that type of crucial, pressure. But it's giving me that vibe of Let this go so that this other part or these other people or this other aspect of your path can open up, can survive, perhaps. Oh, baby. That's interesting. I'm not going to explore that because no. Stop. Thank you. We're going to go and get a potential outcome, and then we're going to wrap this reading because I think you get it. No, you don't get it. Some of you don't. Some of you are like, what are you talking about? Virgo. How can I say this? It's like, yes, because that's what happens. Both times. If you going back to what I just said about Endgame, and it's not everybody's cup of tea. I know that. But we can think of any movie or any book, something like that, where there's an impossible choice or an impossible act, a thing that we never would imagine. Like, I don't want to make this choice. I don't want to see this thing happen because you love the person or you care for them or whatever it is. But it's like being, quote unquote, okay with letting them go, right? Like, and that's a big ask for a lot of you because your heart, whoever is hitting with that message, your heart is so big and you have such a big part of yourself with them, with this person or these people. To have that leave, to have that no longer be a part of your path would really like send you into this unknown space. Fool energy, this unknown space. But the thing with the Fool is trust, faith, leaps of faith. That's not me telling you to make dire, life-changing decisions based on this reading. No. It's just, again, faithfulness, or having this feeling of faith, having this understanding that for the great, gosh, that's a tough, listen, how can I put it? It's like knowing that other people would be, here it is. I'll sum it up like this because it's a very specific message that I don't think would apply to everybody. But the way to sum it up is, oh God, don't lose it. Don't lose it. Better off without me. Better off without me. Whatever that means. Better off without me is the sentiment. And that's tough because there is some type of love. There is some type of connection. But there is this feeling of better off without me. Yeah, it's coming through. I don't want to talk about that because that's not everybody's message and I'm not going to talk about that. Thank you. What is the potential outcome in this situation, please? I'm not a Virgo or anything, but I get it. I feel this. And I don't have Virgo in my chart anywhere. BT dubs. Anyway, what's the potential outcome here for Virgo? What's the potential outcome of this message? 30 minutes. Oh my God, guys. Oof. Tower. Kind of fitting. Secondary major for Aries and also Scorpio. Could be dealing, don't have to be. I feel this is a reset. I feel this partners well with the last card that we were talking about, which is the Fool card on the table there. This is a reset. As much as this looks like destruction and it might manifest in a destructive way, it might show up as possibly somebody being completely thrown out, butt-ass naked somewhere, starting absolutely full energy from zero, right? Card 0. Yeah? And that's gonna feel awful for the person who is ejected or rejected or dejected, whatever. The person who's experiencing this firsthand Tower moment, it's a reset for that person. And it's not going to be pleasant, or it's not going to be perceived in a pleasant way. It's really going to rock a person to their foundation, to their core, yeah? But somewhere in here, this is the path. This is the path. And a lot of what I'm understanding is like, what a time to be born. What a time to be alive. Like, when you think about this transition from the age of Pisces to the age of Aquarius, I was born in the 80s. Others of you born in the 70s, others of you born in the 90s. We were born before this new millennia, right? And now we're on the other side. And there are people who are born after us who are basically the first generations of the millennia. We're the last generations of the previous, but we exist in the oncoming millennia, or this newer millennia, yeah? It's such an interesting position to be in, you know? Anyway, I could get into it, but that's not a part of your reading. We could have a side discussion about that if you were ever interested. Virgo, that's your reading. I don't want to trail off or go on a rant any more than I have tonight. If you like this reading, if it resonated with you, if it made sense to you, hit the like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so before. Make sure you check your playlist for your other readings for your birthday season in beginning in late August and going through to the end of September. And if you want to if you want to find me for a personal reading, you look on how to do so in the description box. And remember, guys, September 11th, 7 p.m. Eastern, I will be live for you guys. Join me if you want, and we'll hang out and have a good time, okay? Virgo, thanks so much for watching the reading. I do appreciate it. Take care.